How many of you are still in denial that we are in a cold civil war, a fourth and fifth generational conflict for the soul of the nation and the future of this world? You still want to deny it? Okay, let me give you the stupidest and silliest story you've probably ever heard, and then break down for you the insidious nature and how of the woke left and how this relates to the cold civil war. From the Hollywood Reporter, Jeopardy slammed for winner's alleged white power hand gesture. That's right. I briefly covered this story the other day. A man who had won around a day of Jeopardy, whatever you call it, holds up one finger when he comes back. The next time, because he had won twice, he holds up two fingers. And the next time he holds up three fingers. However, he held up three fingers against his chest, like it was a 3-pointer call out from an NBA player. Well, as you know, the OK symbol now, according to the mainstream media, is racist. I'm sure you're all familiar with the origin of the OK hand sign. 4chan made a joke that the OK sign meant white power, and for some reason, the establishment latched onto it. The reason is very obvious. They need racism to be pervasive, and they need to be able to accuse you of racism because in many institutions, first of all, most people abhor racism. It's actually illegal to discriminate on the basis of race. So when an institution is accused of racism and they have all of the stupidest, most innocuous things in the world to use, it works perfectly. Probably the biggest backfire 4chan could have ever experienced. Because think about it. Regular people who have no idea play the circle game. Regular people who have no idea make the OK hand gesture. And then you get canceled, you get fired, they come after the core of your business, and people cave. So now we have the story of this guy on Jeopardy. They're claiming that whether he knew it or not, it is a racist dog whistle, and Jeopardy should have caught this. No, they shouldn't have, because it's a fringe cult that believes nonsense, and they're making this up. But there's a lot of them. The cult is growing every day, and thus we are in a cold civil war. The idea is cultural institutions like Jeopardy, businesses, media, must bend the knee to the cult. So what happens is you get a small group of people. They'll point out something nonsensical, the OK sign. The company will panic, not wanting to be racist, will cave and admit it. Let me give you a real scenario, a real scary circumstance you need to understand. I set up, I was one of the organizers for an event in the Philadelphia area in a town called Pittman. And it was called, it was an event about ending violence, racism, and authoritarianism, because we're all classically liberals. Antifa called in what we understand to be a threat to burn down the theater. The media got wind of this and then said the activists said the event was racist and white supremacist and all of that things. They just print it. They just print the activists said, even though it wasn't true, because they want regular people to freak out and think that's what it is when they read the paper, because the accusation is all it takes. There's that famous line, I guess. Well, I'm not going to get into that famous line. There's like a presidential debate and the guy was going to accuse the other president of some really disgusting behavior and said the accusation is all it takes. I want to hear him deny this disgusting behavior. So here's what happens now. I'm very careful about who we promote in terms of sponsorships. I've had people say, will you please promote my product? Maybe. Maybe. Talk to the sales rep, right? But look at it this way. Let's say there's a local business and they're like, I heard you got a big show. If the owner of that business is spineless and I promote their product and the left comes out and says, why are you having your product on this show? What happens then is the sponsor will make a blanket statement. We understand people are mad that Tim Pool is promoting our product. We in no way support racism or whatever. Now, of course, I didn't say anything racist. They will just issue that blanket statement. But then the media will come out and say something like, local business denounces Tim Pool's show over racist comments. Something like that. Then it becomes canon, whether or not you actually made the comments. This guy, Kelly Donahue, over at Jeopardy, is playing a game. Had no idea. Why? The OK symbol is not a white power hand gesture. It's just complete bunk BS. It only became such because the left said it was. 4chan was trolling. They're now doing the two genders thing. That'll backfire great as well. So now this guy has apologized twice, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't. A letter was drafted by like 400 supposed former contestants of Jeopardy, regarding the offensive terminology and gesture. Because now they're saying not only did this man flash a white power hand gesture, but he also said a racial slur. That's right. They need everything to be racist so that they can force institutions to drop to their knees and adopt the religion. It happened to Vice. Let me explain something. I know I spoke with an executive, former executive at Vice. I have friends there. And I said, these like Vice got woke. And I have my theories as to why they did. I was told by a former high-ranking individual that when the lawsuit started coming in about harassment, women being harassed, the investor said, listen, just be a feminist company. It's the easiest way to avoid these suits. So they said, yes. And there you go. That's the point. They accuse you of it. And then the people are like, just give in and be what they want. I don't care. I just want money. And then Vice became trash. Here's the story from The Hollywood Reporter. A Jeopardy winner's hand gesture from Tuesday night has sparked a protest by former contestants demanding an apology. A group of 467 purported former participants on the show posted an open letter on Medium on Wednesday, accusing the syndicated game show's producers of failing to catch what they allege is a white power hand gesture. I love the timeline we're in. On Tuesday, when winner Kelly Donahue was introduced as having won 3 games, he held his thumb and forefinger together with his other 3 fingers extended and the palm facing inward and tapped his chest. Here's what it looked like. That is not the okay sign. That is not the okay hand gesture. It's not the meme. It's clearly a lie. They're just trying to use anything that could be plausibly to look. The main problem here is the regular people who don't pay attention, who believe this stuff. Stop giving in, you spineless cowards. Kelly Donahue didn't do anything wrong. Donahue countered on Facebook that the gesture was only meant to confirm he had won 3 games and noted he had previously flashed 1 and then 2 fingers. But when he did 3 fingers following his 3rd win, he made a gesture similar to the OK symbol made by a right-wing militia group called the 3 Percenters that has also been co-opted by white power groups. The former contestant says the popular game show's producers should have recognized how the hand gesture could be interpreted and prevented it from ever being shown on the air. This gesture was not a clear-cut symbol for the number 3, the letter said. Regardless of Donahue's stated intent, the gesture is a racist dog whistle. Some of the first people to notice this were not affiliated with Jeopardy in any way. They were viewers who couldn't believe what they had seen, captured it on video, and shared it on Twitter. Among them were people of color who, needless to say, are attuned to racist messaging and not appreciative that the show allowed the symbol to be broadcast. It was perceived by people across demographic boundaries as a wink and a nod by white men about their superiority. Leaving this messaging unchecked will encourage others to attempt similar things in the future. Is the production team of Jeopardy prepared for more of this? Prepared for more attempts to disguise contempt as innocent gesturing? Prepared for the backlash and ramifications should one of those moments ever become tied to real-world violence? The letter also said that Donahue had responded to a clue with a term for the Roma that is considered a slur. It doesn't matter what you do. They will just accuse you of being racist. Now, a lot of people on the right like to show pictures of Obama flashing the OK hand sign. And I wonder if people realize that none of this matters. They are just slowly crushing you. And they control the cultural institutions. You know what I absolutely love about the culture war is that Republicans are more concerned about impressing the New York Times than they are their own constituents. So Republicans are often like, but what will the New York Times say about me? That's okay. New York liberals. Yeah, great. Aspire to be like them. Here's what they say. We know that contestants sign morals and ethics related agreements when they prepare to appear on the show. And we would ask the production team to evaluate the situations within that framework. We really hope to see a statement and a disavowal of both of this week's events. And we would like to see Jeopardy address Kelly's behavior. Address his behavior? He didn't do anything. Doesn't matter, though. Mob justice reigns. Our institutions are being eroded from within. And I think it's only a matter of time before our society is completely collapsed. How long until everyone just gets banned? How long until the big business interests realize China is safer? At least with the authoritarian government, you know what the rules are. They're going to say in a follow-up Facebook post, Donahue added Thursday, I'm truly horrified with what has been posted about me on social media. I absolutely unequivocally condemn white supremacy and racism of any kind. People who know me personally know that I'm not a racist, but for the public at large, it bears repeating. I am not a racist, and I reject and condemn white supremacy and all forms of... There it is. Confirmed. Ibram X. Kendi, as all of you know, said denying you're racist or white supremacist is proof that you are. So the only thing you can do is just admit that you are. Otherwise, denying it proves that you are. So you are, no matter what. There you go. Kelly Donahue, you need to not apologize to these people. You need to flip them off because there is literally nothing you can do anyway. He says, I am not racist and I reject and condemn white supremacy and all forms of bigotry for the evil they are. It's shameful to me to think that anyone would try to use the stage of Jeopardy to advance or promote such a disgusting agenda. During the taping of my 4th episode, I was simply raising 3 fingers to mark my 3rd win. There was nothing more I was trying to indicate. I deeply regret this terrible misunderstanding. I never meant to hurt a soul, and I assure you I am no friend of racists or white supremacists. Kelly, I demand you apologize to me for denying your obvious white supremacy. It is time to self-flagellate and accept what you have done, bigot. There's no way out for you, dude. Kelly, there's no way out for you from this. And it's about time regular people woke up because too many spineless cowards have been sitting back saying, I'll be fine if I just keep my mouth shut. No, you won't. One day you'll fart and they'll be like, farts are white supremacy. One day you'll be sitting in your living room and you'll have some people will be over and the cat will sneeze and they'll be like, oh, your cat sneezed? White supremacy. Whatever they can do to make the claim, and they use this to freak you out. Not that regular people know or care or believe it, but look how scared Kelly is. Look at him grovel like a pathetic loser. Please, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry I raised 3 fingers on TV. You know what I would do if it was me? And they'd be like, you showed 3 fingers. I'd be like, look, I don't believe you. I don't care. Have a nice day. That's about it. Look, if there was some legitimate thing that was taken out of context, I'd be like, yeah, okay, well, whatever. But I learned a long time ago, there's no point. None whatsoever. When they come for you, they come for you. And if people aren't standing up to the mob, then we've lost. And this is what they do. They use this. They use this against people like Kelly Donahue so that he comes out and he begs for acceptance, begs, I'm so sorry. And they want other people to see this. They want you to know that they own you, that they can destroy your life at a moment's notice. How much you want to bet this dude ends up losing his job or something? Why? It's really simple. What happens when you work for a mid-level accounting firm and your phones are ringing off the hook because one of your employees, made the 3-pointer hand gesture in a local basketball game? How are you supposed to answer client phone calls? How is your business supposed to function when you're being harassed endlessly? And guess what? It's not illegal. This is where it gets scary for a lot of small businesses. When I was putting on that event in the Philly area, one of the businesses we had partnered with was having their phone ring off the hook. How can they run their business when their phone got to unplug their phone? No phone anymore? Change their phone number? Perhaps they'll find it. If one person calls 100 times, you can claim harassment. If 100 people call one time, you can't. Maybe if someone's directing it, but even then, they don't just outright tell you to do things. They passively say, I think people should stage a campaign against stuff like this. So your phone rings off the hook. People call and they lie. One of the phone calls that came in, because it was shared with us, was someone saying why are you supporting white supremacists? And they were like, we aren't. And the guy was like, well, some of the people. Who? Which people? Well, I'm just saying, where are you from? California. Why are you calling this East Coast establishment if you're not a customer of us, and why should we care? Well, I saw online. You have no idea what you're talking about. Shut up. Have a good day. Bye. Stop bending the knee to these people. Kelly Donahue needs to come out and laugh and say, he's 2 apologies now. He needs to come out and just say, I don't care what you think. You're idiots. Bye-bye. But you know what? Jeopardy will still kick him off the show because this is how the game is played. I got this tweet from Andy No, probably because of this story. He says, flashback. During the height of mass rioting by Black Lives Matter and Antifa in Portland last summer, Antifa incited more violence by saying a poster on the federal courthouse they were trying to burn down was white supremacist. It even prompted an investigation by the Oregon U.S. attorney, who said, "We can confirm the poster spotted in a Hatfield courthouse window this evening is in fact a Portland Trail Blazers poster. It's just a poster. In basketball, when they score a three-pointer, they hold up what appears to be similar to the OK hand gesture." Now, of course, they all know this. The left knows this. These people know this. They just want to freak people like Kelly Donahue out. They want him to panic and beg. And that's how they gain power. This is the war being fought right now. It's a cold civil war, but perhaps only in the sense that hot war, violence, is becoming archaic. Now, yes, they went around burning down buildings, but you see, they've taken over the cultural institutions. So what can you do about it? Of course, there's Sinclair Broadcast Group, which many say is conservative and controls more at the local level. The battle is on. The Jeopardy story may be silly, but it's part of a bigger picture. There was a woman who recently made a thread about how she ran a nonprofit, I think with her husband, and the woke tried infiltrating it. They hired some people they thought were regular people, and then all of a sudden started getting complaints about racism, about insensitivity, and no matter what they said or did, it was never enough. And then eventually it became clear. They wanted the leadership to step down so they could take it over to do it right. Instead, I think, I could be getting it wrong, I think they just told the people to shut up, it's over, and then the woke eventually left, unable to wear the organization like a skin suit. There is a large growing cult in this country. It is a cult. I am not exaggerating. It is a cult. I call it a cult because it is. These are people who have tenets. They tell you, you must abide by this. They have priests. They have speakers. They have a hierarchy. It's mostly informal. You could call it a non-theistic religion like Peter Boghossian does, but I believe it's just a cult. There's a group of people. They will, apostates are worse than non-believers. It's all very much in line with the worst of the worst cults we've seen. Now they are sending their cult members to schools, to corporations, and they are gaining massive ground. Think about it. Chief diversity officer, even the military has been infected. I'm sorry. I think they've secured enough space in this country to completely gut it and destroy it, and that's their plan. Going back to Occupy Wall Street, I remember talking to many of the organizers who said they want to destroy the system and then build a new one. And they want to be in charge of the new one. They don't care about prosperity. They don't care about justice. They just want power. They found a way to get it, and that's what they're going to do. They don't like the way we live. They don't like this country. They want to change it, and it's working. Only around, I can't remember where this comes from, around 10% of the population needs to adopt a cult ideology, in order for the entire country to change. And it's because most people don't do anything, or when confronted, they cower. Kelly Donahue should have rejected this. He should have told them to shut their mouths. He should have said, "You are silly, silly people, and I don't take you seriously." He then should have started working to fight against the insanity. Maybe he still will. For the time being, what he's doing, though, is groveling at the feet of cultists, a fringe minority in this country, though they're gaining power. It's really fascinating. I mean, when you see like Giuliani on the outs, like Rudy Giuliani, America's mayor, leading New York through 9/11. He was like, for the longest time, the conspiracy people thought he was the deep state. They thought he was the conspiracy guy. Now he's being thrown to the wolves. It's because it is an ideology that is taking over. They don't actually care about what they claim they're talking about. They don't care about three fingers or okay signs. They believe that might makes right, and that by simply having the power, they deserve to wield it. Now, there's some truth in that. First, we don't want to live that way. Classical liberalism, the foundation of this country, is the rights of the individual and a mix of free market economics and cooperation and things like that. But there is truth in the people who have the power get to determine what is acceptable in society. And that's something they've realized. So why do it the legitimate way? Why gain power legitimately and earn influence through merit and persuasion when they can just subvert the system, force people to their knees, and take their jobs away? Now that they're in corporations and in government, they can ensure they get their laws passed. They can ensure that if you don't do as you're told, they'll take away your access to resources. Then you can't eat. Authoritarianism is here. It's going to get worse. It's in the FBI. When do you think it comes for you? It will. What can we do? Stand up and speak. Don't be like Kelly Donahue, apologizing and crying. And you should come out and say, these are absurd lies. The people who are saying this are silly people who have made up some mishmash garbage that makes no sense. And I will not apologize for something I didn't do. Sorry. Instead, he comes out and says, I didn't mean to hurt anybody. I'm so sorry. Please accept me. Kelly, these people make up like 0.1% of the people, like the people who are tweeting at you. They're a minority fraction of the people who actually watch the show. But the cult is large and growing. And there are a lot of people who simply want to join in because, you know, safer, I guess, when they think this side's winning because they're willing to do whatever it takes to gain power. What a stupid story. But you need to understand the insidious nature of what this story represents. They are gaining power and subverting our institutions, and it's only a matter of time before they have all of them. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up at 4 p.m. over at youtube.com/Timcast. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you all then.